Welcome back to Success Mashup Radio. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, welcome back to the Internet Marketing Boardroom, podcast number 7. This live show is actually going to be recorded and uploaded into my podcast for everybody to listen to on their iPad or iPhone or whatever they want to listen to it on. Now, what I want to talk about today is Facebook marketing for business. Now, this is going to be relevant to you whether you're a small business, you're a medium-sized business, you don't own a business, but maybe you want to turn your passion or what you really love to do into a business or a cause or something like that. This is really important stuff, and there's a lot of people that teach this stuff out there that really are kind of teaching it the wrong way, in my opinion. So, what I've put together basically is I put together a Facebook marketing checklist. And my company, Dominate Web Media, really specializes in Facebook advertising. So we actually run the campaigns for some high-profile our marketers, authors, experts, speakers, New York Times bestsellers that we use Facebook advertising to target their very specific audience. And in a lot of cases, it might be, like I said in the last segment, for example, one of my clients has a 45 to 65-year-old men and women, a little bit more women than men, but that's who they target. And they target people like that actually like things like Tony Robbins and HubSpot and motivational type of people and stuff like that. And so it's very easy to target people like that and get your message out there. Now, you can actually run Facebook ads and be fairly successful if you don't even have a Facebook page. For example, some people, what they do is they set up these ads and they target the person that they want to target for what they like, and then they send that traffic to a website, right, or an offer or a video or something like that. Well, what I want to do is I want to walk you through really how to set this up the right way, whether you have a Facebook page or you don't, because really the way things are now, especially in the past 6 months or so with some of the changes that Facebook has made in the ability to run these promoted posts from something that starts on your Facebook page, it's even more critical to have a Facebook page. Like a year ago, I was telling some businesses, it's really not even necessary to have a Facebook page. You can use Facebook ads to target your exact ideal customer to drive them to your website. You need to have good systems in place and have a good offer, but still you can do that. Well, with all the changes they've made in the last 6 months, I don't tell people that anymore. I tell them you still need to have a Facebook page, because I'll explain it here in a few minutes, the reason why. But first of all, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a quick story. First, think about if you are going out to a restaurant. So you're going out with your husband or your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your family, and you've got restaurant A and you've got restaurant B. And the reason you're going to this restaurant is because somebody referred you to this restaurant. So, okay, that's Friday night. You go out to the restaurant and you have a great experience. It's good food. It was good service. Everything was good. So then you leave the restaurant and you go home, and then guess what? Life hits, you get busy, and you can't remember the last time you went to that restaurant. Or maybe you go again in 3 or 4 months because it's a special occasion, date night or something like that. Well, now think of restaurant B. Restaurant B, same place. You were recommended this place. You showed up at the restaurant, good service, good food, everything was fine. But at the end of your meal, the server came up to you and said, "Hey, would you mind joining our customer loyalty program? If you do, we'll give you a free appetizer or a free meal or a buy one, get one free," something like that to become a gold member or something like that. So you do. Of course you do. You fill it out. You had a good experience. Maybe you fill out a little survey about how the service was, and you leave. Well, then guess what happens? If anybody here has ever joined one of those lists from a restaurant that does things in a good way, professional, they don't spam people, but they've got it down pretty good. Then what happens is you get an email maybe on your birthday month. Maybe you get an email on when they're having some type of special during the holidays or something like that. And what you end up finding yourself doing is frequenting that restaurant a lot more than the other restaurant. Why? Because they put systems in place, very simple systems, and they had their servers follow up on it. Well, guess what? Restaurant B can actually spend a lot more resources, a lot more money, and a lot more energy focusing on getting new customers to come and dine at their restaurant, because they have systems to be able to bring people back and get customers to continually come back. So they can afford to spend more on advertising than the other restaurant, even though they have the same exact service. I'm telling you this story because your Facebook page, your website, it's the same exact thing. A lot of people they're scrambling. Let's do YouTube videos. Let's do Facebook. Let's do all this stuff. But they don't have the right system set up in the beginning to be able to capitalize on this. And then they just start spinning their wheels and they start looking at the ROI and we're spending this much money. We have a full-time employee or a part-time employee doing Facebook marketing, but it's not really getting us anywhere. Let's just stop it. When really it's a mistake because you've got the other businesses that have their system set up right from the beginning. They can afford to do this. And I'm going to go ahead and get into that stuff right now. First of all, though, real quick, I've talked about this before. Your website is still your hub. Okay, so your website is the hub, like with the airline example that I used. Facebook, YouTube, press releases, Twitter, Pinterest, whatever it is. Those are still your outstations. Those are ways to drive traffic to get customers to come to your website. You still want people landing on your website. You own it. That's the most important thing. You need to use these channels to get more traffic there, and then you have to have systems in place. Okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you how to improve this one channel. Your Facebook outstation is basically your most important one of your most important ones these days. So you need to really have it set up the right way. First of all, before I go into the checklist, is you need to have a Facebook business page. Okay, so if you don't have a Facebook business page, if you have a personal profile and you're using that, then go to Google, search, create a Facebook business page, and do it. It takes you 5 minutes. If you don't know whether you're a brand or a product or a local business, they give you some choices you have to choose. Just choose whichever one you think fits most. Don't worry about it because you can change it at a later date. So it's not set in stone. So go do that right now. If you haven't already done that, if you're listening to this recording, just hit pause, do it, come back and listen to the rest. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go through these 9 most important critical things that you need to be doing. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about images and what to do with these images. But don't worry because one of my last tips is basically kind of honestly is my secret weapon when it comes to doing stuff online, how to being able to test a lot of different things, get things going fast, have a good speed of implementation. I'm going to show you how you can set up these images very easy with no experience in graphic designing. So that's should be really, really helpful. So don't get worried about that when I start running off numbers and stuff like that. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the number one. Number one is you need to add a Facebook like box on your website. Okay. So we're still on our website. We're actually not on our Facebook page yet, but you need to add one of those boxes that shows up like on the right side of your website somewhere. And I'm not talking about a Facebook or a Twitter icon that when somebody clicks on it, that takes them to your Facebook page. You don't want them doing that. If they're on your website, you typically want them staying there because you want them to take whatever action you want them to do, whether it's fill out a form or call you or get your free educational white paper or something like that. So you kind of want them to stay there. So what I mean by a fake Facebook like box is what that is basically it's still small, shows up on the right side, a little square, and it'll show some faces of people that like your page. So you've got some social proof. It'll show how many people like your page. It might be, 600 or it might be 6,000. And then they can just click like. That's it. It doesn't take them to your Facebook page. And then what happens is you can now capitalize on all that traffic already coming to your website. Maybe it's just general people that come there anyways or whatever it is, depending on your business. Now you'll get a lot of people to like your Facebook page without even going to your Facebook page. So now you can use some of these other things. So that's one thing you're going to want to do. If you're listening to this right now, I will have all the resources on the dominatewebmedia.com/session7. Okay, so dominatewebmedia.com/session7. You'll have the links, and I'll have a link to show you how to put this like box on there. It's actually fairly easy, especially if you have a WordPress website. Okay, so that's important. Number 2. You need to have a branded cover photo image. That's the top big banner. It's 851 pixels wide by, what is it? I know this by heart, but forget actually. Where's it at here? I don't even think I wrote it down because I do know. What is it? 851 by, hold on a second here. 315. Okay, I thought I had that written down, but it's 851 by 315. Now, there's a couple things that you need to think about here. Facebook has terms of service. So on that big cover banner image, there's some things that you cannot have, and I'm going to read them off here. You can't have price or purchase information, such as 40% off or download this at our website. You can't have contact information like your website, email, mailing address, or other information intended for your page's about section. Okay? Number 3, you can't have references to user interface elements such as like or share or Facebook site features. And then number 4, you cannot have calls to action such as get it now or tell your friends. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that in other areas of your page. Okay, so your image basically just needs to be your brand, just a good, clean image that represents your brand. And you can have that designed on Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com for $5. You can go search Facebook cover photo. There's programs out there that you can use some pretty cool pre-designed stuff and get one for free. So do that if you don't have that already. Number 3, you need to include a clickable URL to your website in the about section. So right below the cover photo, you're going to have your about section on the left side there. And if you put your URL, and it's got to be clickable, so in order to do that, it's got to be http://www. whatever your website is. You do that at the very beginning of the about section, or maybe after the first sentence, then it'll show up right there. So that's important. You need to have that. You'll need to have a profile image, which is the small image on the bottom left of that cover banner image, okay? And that's a square image, so it's 180 pixels by 180 pixels is the smallest you can use there. So you need to use that. That's important too, because when you're doing posts and stuff like that, like when your stuff will show up on the wall or somebody else's page, then that image is what shows up. So you want to have that representative of your brand, your logo, or your face, if you are kind of the brand. So that's important. Now, let's get into some of the important stuff here that's to help put these systems I was talking about in place. Number 4, you need to create a custom app image with those thumbnails. So what you've got underneath the Facebook timeline, the big cover banner, is right below that, you've got these 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how you've got it set up, these little thumbnail images. Okay, they're very small. They're like an inch wide by 3/4 of an inch long, and actually it's 111 pixels by 74. So 111 wide by 74 small. And what you're going to want to have is you're going to want to have a call to action or something like your website or your offer. Okay, and it's very important to have. I'm going to talk about this apps on the next one here. These is where you can take people to your offer. So you can use these thumbnails, and I'll show you an example on the show notes. I'll show you a good example of what I mean. It can just be a little image with text, and using Keynote or PowerPoint to create this little image that can take somebody to your offer. And so if you are really going to start using Facebook, you need to have some type of educational offer. This is so important. This is why I talked about Facebook is like the coffee shop or the party. If you're going to try to use Facebook to sell people a product or a service up front, you're going to probably fail. You need to have some type of free offer. So maybe it's 7 ways to, if you're a roofing company, maybe it's 7 ways to make your roof last 10 years longer. If it's weight loss, there's a lot of different things you can think about. 5 days to Facebook advertising success. Okay. Top 10 ways to look 10 years younger in the next 5 days, whatever. But basically, you might have a download that somebody can download. You might have a free email series, or maybe you have a video or something that you have some educational content that you can teach somebody. But at the end of that, you have a product or a service that you come up with. So you sell something, but you don't bring them right to that sale. So that's very important. You can use these icons and Facebook advertising and to drive traffic to an offer, but it works a lot better if you take them to some type of free offer first, and then you use your systems like your email autoresponder sequences to really bring them back into your sales process. So that's really, really important. Okay, so now, how do you set up these little thumbnails? Well, what you do is the easy way I'm going to suggest this for you is, number 1, if you want to take somebody to your website, then you can put it's called a redirect app. So all you do is you go up to the top of Facebook, and you search, you type in redirect, and then right below that it'll pop up. It's called the redirect application. It's free, and what you can do is basically you just select your page, your Facebook page. You enter in the URL that you want to forward to. Maybe it's your website. Okay, maybe it's your free offer. You do that, and then you hit save basically, and that's it. Now you go back to your website. You go back to your Facebook page, and now what you have is that one of those thumbnail images will be a redirect. So if you click on that, it'll take people to the URL that you selected. Okay. Now, then what you're going to want to do next is you're going to want to change that image. So maybe you can use Keynote or PowerPoint, which I'm going to talk about in a second. It's kind of my secret weapon for creating these images. Create a little image that says free report or something like that, where you can take them to your website, or maybe it's a video or something like that. Then what you do is basically right to the right of those little thumbnails. Okay, so right below that cover photo image to the right, there's a little arrow pointing down. You click on that arrow, and then those little thumbnails on the top right of each one, there'll be like a little pencil, I think. And then you click on that pencil, and then you can edit it. So you can edit settings. You just click edit settings, and by doing that, you can change that photo. Okay, so basically you click that little arrow on the right, then you click the top right corner of whichever one you want to change, or you can actually swap positions with another one, and then that's what you do. It's actually very simple. If you're listening to this, just go to the show notes and I'll show you a screenshot of it. But it's really as simple. It's really important though to do. So the other thing that you can do is create a custom landing page. So you can basically create a website within Facebook. Okay, this is very cool. The easiest way to do it is to use a company called Heyo.com. It used to be Leisure. It's HEYO.com. Okay, and you can create one free landing page for free for one page. So it's very cool. One thing you can do if you want to just bring your entire website or one of your website pages in, you can just drag and drop the iframe widget thing. It's called the iframe widget, and then you just copy and paste the URL of which page you want to show up inside of Facebook, and it'll do all the work for you. So it's really cool. It just has to be the website can't be too wide, so you have to be careful with that. But if you want to create an image or some type of offer, or maybe have a headline that says, download my free report on ... and then you have an email autoresponder sequence set in place, then all you have to do, it's really, really easy. It's all drag and drop. You don't have to know any code, don't have really any design experience. You can use whichever email service you're using, is Aweber or iContact or Infusionsoft or Constant Contact. You can bring that form right into Facebook, have a little headline, have an image, boom, you're done. Okay, then you can start running Facebook ads or any stuff like that to drive traffic to this page. Okay, so this is important. So now by doing that, you've created some tabs, some pages within Facebook, or maybe you just want to redirect people back to your website. That's fine. Maybe it's an interview, maybe it's a webinar that you want people to schedule, that you want people to sign up for. Lots of different things you can use, and you can change those out. But once you know how to do it, it's very easy to do. Okay, so then you can start putting more emphasis on creating value, getting engagement on your page, and stuff like that. So we're getting closer. Now, for those landing page tabs I talked about, the one issue is that it can only be 810 pixels wide. So you can't. Most websites are a little bit wider than that, so you have to be careful. It has to be a narrow website, or if you're creating an image or something like that, make sure it's 810 or less. That's the key. Okay, but it's really cool. It's a pretty cool software product. People can share and like your page and follow it on Twitter and stuff like that right there. So, all right. So the next thing, which is really important, this is number 7, and in my opinion, the most important thing that you're going to hear on this checklist, which is the most effective thing on Facebook right now. When you upload, if you do any type of a post, you need to upload an image with it. Okay, you can upload an image up a 404 pixels by 404 pixels wide. So you can upload a pretty large image. Maybe it's just text. Maybe you just use PowerPoint and create some text, and then you upload this image. And then with that image, then you write a little sentence. Maybe it's a couple words. Maybe you have, and then you have a link. So it's a little. Here's a 3-step process. You have an image, or maybe it's an image with big text words on it that really stand out that people can see. Then you say, for example, I have a 3 secrets to Facebook advertising success video. Okay, so what I do, I uploaded an image that says that in it, and then it also has like a picture of me and stuff, but it's got really big words. I can't remember exactly what it says offhand. Top 3 secrets to FB ad success, something like that. Okay, and then what I do is I create a status update. So I write like a 1 sentence, free video on top 3 Facebook advertising secrets or something like that. Then I have a link. That link goes to that page, and that can either be where they can download your free offer, they can watch your sales video, they can schedule for a teleseminar or a webinar, they can schedule a demo of your product, they can schedule some kind of information, something where you're creating value. That's the key. Okay. So by doing that, according to 2012 HubSpot article, photos on Facebook generate 53% more likes than the average post. That's important because Facebook is like Google. They have their own algorithm. They decide what shows up at the top of that news feed you see there, and stuff that stays up there is stuff that has engagement. And so if you upload a photo, you have a lot better chance of that staying up there. And then the other reason why is now what you can do is you can make that post a promoted post, and you can set up Facebook ads to get that post to show up a lot more. So your post will literally show up at the top of people's news feeds, and it will show up on the right side with a larger image than the normal Facebook ads and a link. And what will happen is you can get a ton of very, very targeted, cheap clicks coming to your Facebook page, and also clicking on that link coming to your website. This is huge. This is so many people right now are using this strategy and getting an incredible amount of ROI. They're getting, sometimes it's 2 to 1, 3 to 1, or 4 to 1. It's really cool. So now what you can do is you can start to create. You're starting to get systems in place now. So let's say you do a post like that actually does take people to your offer. You can now do a promoted post. So at the bottom right of that post, you can click on promote this post. What Facebook will do is it will show that post at the top of the news feeds to not only your fans, but your friends of your fans. This is really important. And then you can also set up a regular Facebook ad, and you can target certain individuals that you want to choose. Like I said, a certain age range, what they like to do, stuff like that. Okay. Now, why is it, actually, before I get into this, I'm going to talk about why it's so important that you want to have a lot of fans in just a second here. But first of all, when you're creating these images, honestly, my secret weapon, even though I have Photoshop and all that stuff and designers that do some stuff for me, is I use Keynote for Mac, or you can use PowerPoint for a PC. And it is so easy to create images. You can just use the shapes, like the square shape, and it'll do a nice background. You can do a gradient background, and then you can bring text in there, and you can write text. You can upload images. You can create your images so fast, so easy, so professional using Keynote or PowerPoint. And then when you're doing this, when you're using that square, you can basically drag it, and it shows you the dimensions. So the pixels, like I was talking about, 111 by 74 or 400 by 400 for your post. It does that for you, and then you can it's really easy. You do the rest, you create your image, and then you just take a screenshot. So like Command-Shift-4 on a Mac. I can't remember what it is on a PC, but basically you can use some other tools to take a screenshot. You've got your image. Boom. Okay, so once you do that, now you can literally do Facebook ads. So if you do a promoted post, you can do promoted post, page post ads, Facebook offers, traditional Facebook ads to increase your fan base, track leads, and increase profits. Why do you want more fans? Well, okay, first of all, if you have over 5,000 fans, then you can actually target that specific post to a specific age group or country or something like that. The other thing is that if you have a fan page with 200 fans, the average, a fan page with 200 fans basically will have about 50,000 friends of fans. A fan page with 1,000 fans will have 200 to 400,000 friends of fans, And a Facebook page with about 5,000 or 6,000 fans will have 2 to 3 million friends of fans. How do I know this? I've seen all this stuff in the admin of different pages that I have access to. So now what happens is you've got a page with a couple thousand fans that you've maybe spent a little bit of money, getting fans, or maybe you've just been really hard and did it all organically. Now you can create a post that's engaging and it will show up to friends of fans. So now you're not only reaching that 1,000 or 2,000 people, you're reaching 200,000 or 300,000 people. It's unbelievable. And in a lot of cases, you can get some of these clicks for 5 cents or 10 cents a click. And so you can get very targeted people coming to your Facebook page or just coming right to your website. Okay, so if they come to your Facebook page, now you've got these other systems in place. They can click on those thumbnails you've put in and a lot of those types of things. So basically, that's the key. And so I don't want to go into detail about the Facebook ads. I'm running a little bit long as it is right now, so I've got to wrap this up. But basically, get all those systems in place. Once you do, then you can really focus on creating value, create posts with value, create engaging questions. Only once in a while, maybe once a week or twice a week, you're doing something that's actually trying to sell something in your business. You can put a lot more emphasis into getting people to come to your page with educational content, with engaging content, because you've got better systems in place. You've got maybe some type of a free offer, and you've got these systems in place to drive people to your website to take action. So it's very important. And so basically, if you want to get this checklist, you can actually go to fbchecklist.com, and you can actually download this checklist and watch the video that walks you through the entire thing. So go to dominatewebmedia.com/session7 for the show notes, and you can go to FB as in like Facebook checklist.com to download this checklist and watch the video where I walk you through the entire process. Okay, so do that, get it set up right, then focus on all the other ways to drive more traffic to it. But you have to set it up right to begin with. You're going to be a lot more successful, I promise you. So once again, if you're listening to this podcast recorded on iTunes, please like it, comment it if it was helpful, make comments below. If you're watching this on YouTube, please comment, like, share with everybody, and hopefully we can bring you some more good stuff.